Or they do it, realize it couldn't be done, and then lost their lunch money.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So anyway, next one. Move on.
Moving on. I like that one. Okay. Number three, decentralize the process to analyze possible courses of action. And I'm happy they finally got to decentralize.
But this is kind of like what I was talking about. Like you cannot plan everything yourself. You just can't. And this also goes back to what you were talking about with contrarians and devil's advocates. Like that's why you want to bring in people like that as well to help work out the kinks of whatever you're working on.
Yeah, and I just want to throw something there. I think the difference between a healthy and a negative contra, contra, contrarian is if they can provide solutions or work towards the process of that.
Yes. So there are some people who will bring up an issue and be like, "Here's a solution to it." There are others who will bring up the issue and be like, "I don't know how to solve this." But they're open to solving it. They're not open.
Yeah, they're tossing out the problems and saying, "Help me circle around it," or just give me the path if you know it. But I'm trying to circle around it.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Exactly. And that's all healthy. That's all feeding into what you were saying. And I just like you were saying it.
I love it. Well, I'm being contrarian.
You're always you're just yeah, whatever.
I'm like the Sesame Street guy in the trash can.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, what's
The Grinch? No. Grumpy? No.
he is green. The Grinch is green, and the garbage can guy is Oscar the Grouch is also green.
Well, bro.
Anyway, next one.
All right. Skip by decentralized. I love that one so much. Okay. Number four. Determining specific courses of action and focusing on the simplest course of action. And then there's a final part of this one, and I'm kind of blowing past some of the fun stuff, but empowering leaders to determine courses of action. So it was a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like the next few steps after that are basically all about how do you manage risk, and that's those are the next things like that. But I think one determine a specific course of action and keeping it simple is extremely important. If we go back to another chapter where they talk about simple, it's very easy to get super complicated and overly complex with plans and stuff. And again, like this goes back to if you're the leader, you can't plan every aspect of it, and so you need to delegate. So you need to keep your intent, your mission simple so that the people below you can go and make it a little more complicated, but they also need to keep it simple and be able to move forward as well. So anyway, but and the big one to me is definitely empowering the people below you. Like there's the concept of servant leadership, and I'm not exactly 100% behind that. um
I kind of am. I'm like 95% behind it.
I would say I am in the aspect of you, like a servant leader is the type of leader that has a vision for where they want things to go. They lay that vision out for the people below them. They guide the people below them, but then they're also there to help the people below them. That's the vision of what I view as. Very often people with like who focus on servant leadership always end up just focusing on that I'm here for you aspect.
Yeah, it's not about submission. And I don't want. I actually I want to circle back to that later because we don't. If we do that now, we'll take too much time.
Yeah. The other thing is okay. Yeah. The other aspect of this checklist is you need to be flexible. Be flexible with your plan. Like, again, if
No, my plans are perfect from the beginning. What are you talking about? I don't need flexibility. Nothing ever goes wrong with any plan I've ever made. I mean, how can it? I shoot, I consider if I should have shot, I shoot again, and then I aim. What's wrong with that plan?
I'm
It can never go wrong. Ever. Not even in a mall.
moving on. Moving on. I think we can all catch Phil's sarcasm. But the thing is, I see this. I do see it a lot with people. It kind of goes into this whole idea of, and maybe we've talked about it before, but maybe we haven't. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset, where a growth mindset is always curious and is adapting to the new to situations as they pop up, but a fixed mindset is one that stays and it just doesn't adapt. It's my way or the highway type of mindset. So if you are planning and creating things, you need to be flexible enough with your plan to adjust to new stuff that's coming in. So I think that's an important aspect of it. The other thing is that you have to like tell people your plan. Um, I mean, we kind of talked about this. The I intend to in a previous.
Yeah, that's part of decentralized control. You have to have your leaders, the leaders below you, uh, tell you what they actually intend to do, and they got to be able to, in that intent, have a general idea what to do if things have to change or likely things, uh, what to do if likely things happen that are outside of their plan.
100% true. You are correct. Then the next one, and this is a big one because people really don't do a good job of this, is once you've executed your plan, once you've done your thing, you need to sit down and actually debrief it. You need to sit down and review and see what happened. And this is honestly one of the worst. One of the Everybody is so keen. So in especially in the world that I am in, and I've seen this way too much, is we are too keen to move on to the next thing.
The next thing is always so shiny.
Yes, and it's always super pressing. Like we don't want to move on. We don't want to pause, take a look at what we just did and see what we can change the next time. We want to just be like, all right,
Or even celebrating the win.
yes, that's the other part of it. Like we just want to
I think
sit.
we neglect this too often.
Yes. Yeah, 100% true. Like we just want to set aside what we did and move on to the next thing. Like we need, but see, or even what sometimes what we even happen is we want to we just want to celebrate the wins. We don't want to review the losses either. Like we need to do all of that. We need so like when you're a part of a team and you are going through and working on stuff, what you need to do is like you release an app. You need to take a day as a team
After action review.
and celebrate. One, you release the app, celebrate that you release the app. Like you need to sit down and be like, woohoo, it's out, it's good.
Yep. Let the stress off.
Yes. Two, you need to sit down and review the entire process of that.
What did you mess up? Because you know you did.
Yes. But on top of that, what went well? What did we do well while through that whole process? Like, what did we mess up? What did we do well? So, what can we carry forward and continue doing? What do we need to change? Those are your questions.
And this isn't this the sandwich, the good news, bad news, good news thing. You can celebrate the win and maturely with a group of adults look at what went wrong, point out, who messed up, and uh, see what's the path for improvement. And when you do it healthy, you're not pointing fingers. You're not saying, Phil, you really shouldn't have done this. What the hell were you thinking? It's like, hey, Phil, this one didn't go the way you thought it would. What do you think? Right? And then Phil needs to say, well, yeah, looking back, that was dumb. Or, that could have gone either way. And here's why. And I think here's why it didn't go the way I thought it would. Right? And those are healthy, fun ways to look at failure and still look at success without being judgmental. And you can't go into those things um, with consequences.
Right.
It's all got to be, yeah. The this is the Here's the problem where it goes bad. Like, it cannot affect bonuses. It cannot affect um, career growth. It just can't. There can't be negative consequence. Negative. There can't be punishments to it. And I know I'm messing up my psychology terms, but
So let me clarify maybe. There cannot be individual consequences to these things. There can be team oriented consequences. And I don't mean that as a negative thing, like saying, "Oh, the team's really bad. The entire team's going to lose. Like we're going to drop them down a pay grade." No, 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 no. I mean team consequences in the sense of what is the team going to do? What are we as a team going to do better next time to make sure this does not happen? Those are the consequences that we need to focus on, not Phil, you messed up. You're not getting your Christmas bonus.
right, and go sit in the corner for the rest of the party.
Yeah, yeah, that is not going to happen. You cannot do it that way. One of the big things that you need to do is you need to focus on on behaviors, on patterns. You can't focus on um specific things. Like it's just hard I, it's hard to explain, hard to generalize, but the big thing is like again, you got to just really focus on like what are the patterns that you're seeing and the behaviors. You can't focus on the individual. um
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it from the objective of growth and recognizing healthy and negative patterns, and gradually throwing out enough information where they can refine stuff and learn and apply stuff, and give, you can be, for me, you can give me some really harsh critique, right? And I'm even more accepting of that when I'm going to give you some kind of BS comment, but also give me a path to help improve. Right now, if you do those two things for me, and if you do it with a little bit of humor, huge, awesome, right? And I can handle it even like rough, but a lot of people can't, right? And it's not productive. So you got to know who you're dealing with. If it's going to be more rough, this should be more private, right? So the rougher, the more private, the more general and helpful to the group in a group.
yep, yep. The one big tool that I would provide everybody when you are doing these types of debriefs and such, and it's any type, would be the 5 whys. It was developed by the Toyota company, I want to say early 20th century.
Sigma.
Well, that's Lean Six Sigma, but that kind of fed into it. The 5 whys are essentially you go and you ask why 5 times. The whole point is you sit there and you say, all right, this thing happened. Why did it happen? And somebody comes up with a reason. And usually that reason is like the most immediate reason. Um, for a really, you know what, let me recommend a fiction book. A really good book for people to read is Airframe by Michael Crichton. The book is about a plane, an incident that happens during a plane, on a plane, and the investigation into the incident and why it happened. And it's also an investigation into the media's reaction to plane incidents and stuff. And this was written in the early 90s. It's a very, very good book. Really, really interesting. Like I love it. I listen to it every couple of years. But one of the things that they talk about in there is a plane accident, like a plane crash, is not just a single event. It's a cascade of events. There's one event that triggers the crash, but then there's a whole series of events behind that event that leads up to it. So you've got event A, which triggered the crash, but then you've got events B, C, D, E, all the way down to Z that led up to that crash. And that's the whole concept of the 5 whys. You have an incident, you have something happen, you have an issue that popped up. What you need to do is you need to sit there and ask, all right, why? Why did this happen? Okay, it happened because of this. Okay, why did that happen? And then you ask it like 5 times, and you can get into the root cause in the heart of the matter. And it can be a very long process, but it is so important. And that's part of the reason, like that process led to Toyota's success and